I invite Hisham Ibrahim from the RIPE NCC to give us an update of what's happening in that region.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Yeah, the slides are up. My name is Hisham Ibrahim. I work for the RIPE NCC. It's been a while since I've presented in front of this meeting, and I'm happy to be back again. This update talks a little bit about what we've been seeing as RIPE NCC and what's been happening in our community and what we've been actually working on. And if I may, yes, so first thing is we're running out of IP version 4. I mean, that's not really news. Everybody knows IP version 4 is very scarce, but we're actually really running out, as in we currently have a policy, the final/A policy, that says we give only a /22 of IP addresses, roughly 1,000 IP addresses to a member that requests, or LIR that requests these resources. We're predicting by early 2020, and maybe even a little bit earlier in terms of like gold rushing and people rushing to get the resources, that we won't even be able to have those 1,000 IP addresses to give anymore by the end of this year. Which means that we have a bigger role in making sure that it's the message is communicated, because when we stand in front of a crowd that maybe isn't following us closely and we say, you know, we're running out of IP version 4, they say, didn't that happen in 2011? And then we explain that that was global run out, and then, but that happened in 2012, right? It's like, no, that was us reaching final/8. But this is, we don't have anything more to give you guys after this point. So we try to make that message as clear as possible and inform the members as possible as much as we can. And yes, and in doing so, we ensure that we hand them out fairly, and we make sure that we do the due diligence in doing so. Some of the challenges that this period is providing us with, well, one of the things is we need to prepare for the drop of the membership growth, because so far we've had a very exponential growth, and with IP version 4 running out, we definitely see that this will hinder the growth rates that we've had before. What does that mean for us? What does this mean for a budget, for staffing, and projects that we're working on? That's something that we look into. The transfer market is very active in our region, so it gives us more of a reason to make sure that everything is properly maintained and accurately maintained in the registries, to just make sure that the resource holders that are on the database are actually the ones that are actually currently using it. So yes, so the strategic focus for this year is basically around a few words. You can read the slides, but it's basically all about being efficient and resilient and accurate in everything that we do. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a due diligence process that we're looking into, which is making sure that when somebody applies for resources, they're actually using them for, you know, internet deployment, and not just stockpiling them, or not just, you know, claiming to be somebody that they aren't in a place that they actually aren't. But also a bigger part of that is, so these all go back to the registry parts of what the organization does, but also we're establishing ourselves, and we've been establishing ourselves for a long time now, as a center of technical expertise, a place where, you know, it's in the name, the NCC, Network Coordination Center, where all the networks can actually come to learn and get information, get advice from either other networks that attend the meetings, or from us, based on what we've been seeing in other parts of our service region. And we continue to provide and develop the engagement accordingly, to try to make sure that everybody hears the message and actually is able to develop their networks in the best current operational practices. Now this slide actually shows a few ways that we do this engagement. So we have the RIPE meetings, of course. We do them twice a year, but we also have regional meetings where we go into regions where we don't necessarily go as frequent with the bigger meeting, or it's more challenging to go into them with a bigger meeting, but we still try to reach them with regional events where we can bring together some neighboring countries to discuss these issues amongst them. We do member lunches. We've been doing this for a few years now, where we go into a country, invite all our members, and ask them face-to-face about some of the services that we're doing, some of the challenges that they're facing, what they can actually, what we can do to help them, and what they expect from us. We support NOGs. There's a page on Ripe Labs that has all the different NOGs that we have in the region, and we have meetings for the NOG coordinators during the Ripe meeting. We do the same thing for the IGFs, the national IGFs and the regional IGFs that we have. We represent the technical community there, and we support anything that basically brings community together, to talk about internet-related things. You usually find a representative of the NCC there, bringing that technical perspective into the discussion. We do face-to-face training all over the service region. And yes, I mentioned Ripe Labs as well. We do hackathons. You've had a few of them at this meeting here. We try to do as many as we can throughout our service region and distribute them all over the place. And we actually have an interesting one coming up where we're going to be looking into quantum networking. A few universities throughout the service region will be trying to do a hackathon simultaneously out of different locations, which is actually providing an interesting new challenge to a hackathon, but we're very keen and interested to see how that one will work out. And we also engage with government, and we have government roundtables and meetings to actually understand and see where the government perspective is, because as I'm sure a lot of you know, there's a lot of discussion at the government level, and there's a lot of legislation, there's a lot of back and forth on some of the issues related to the internet. Implementing ABUSE, we started implementing this February this year. The initial check covered around 70,000 contacts. The initial check was done faster than we actually anticipated. And yes, and there's been manual follow-up for those that we haven't actually been able to verify at this point. Oops, sorry. That's my fault. Ripe Atlas, some of you may have met my colleagues that were here over the past 2 weeks. Ripe Atlas, for those of you that do not know it, it's a measurement tool. It's one of the largest, if not the largest measurement tool out there, around 10,000 active probes at any given time that collects, that you can actually use for research, can run different reachability and measurement tests for. And my colleagues that were here were distributing some of these probes, but also talking about, now we've heard from the community for a while now that they've been keen in software solutions and VM solutions, not a physical actual probe there. So we actually have them, and we're testing some of them out there. If you're interested, please come talk to me, or you can see the URL in how to get a little bit more involved. And there's a survey that talks about what you would like to see there. Some of you may be familiar with something called IXB Jedi Matrix. It looks into how much the traffic in the country, the paths that they take, how much do they stay within the country, how much do they leave, do they go through the exchange point in the country, do they go through the exchange points in the region, and we're looking into evolving that beyond what the current scope of this is. So we're really interested in people that care about, routability and reachability to actually reach out to us and tell us what they would like to see and how we can actually enhance that. Well, so like Afrinet, we also are doing certification now for an examination process to certify people on certain things, whether it's IP version 6, whether it's on our database and other stuff. I think, and also Paul mentioned they have solutions as well, e-learning solutions, just like Afrinet, and we are no different to that. We also have something called the Ripe Academy, where people can go online and take certain courses. But the addition now is that now they can actually begin to get certified on that. We have a slightly different approach to what Afrinet presented yesterday from MUCOM, but it's along the same lines of what we're trying to do here. We actually had a very successful pilot where we went into one of the universities in the Middle East, Lebanon, and we introduced these courses as part of a blending mixed learning experience in one of the courses that they had, and the feedback was really good. Yes, there's a pilot exam for the right database, and you get a badge and a certification and other stuff with that as well. We also have a survey. We do this every few years. In 2016, we had roughly 4,400 participants. This year, we always try to challenge ourselves to do something new every time. And this year, we made it available in 8 different languages. We usually used to do this only in English, but this year we try to take that a step further and see, can we accommodate for more languages, and would that actually make an impact on the amount of participation and even maybe the wealth of information that we get back from those that take the surveys. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll share that publicly for those interested. And yes, and if you use our services, please participate as well. Last but not least, we have our upcoming meeting. It's going to be mid-October in Rotterdam, Netherlands. So please join us. And yeah, I'm happy to take questions when questions is allowed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hisham.